Hi! In a previous lesson, we learned that we can compare fractions if they're in the same size shape, and we can't compare them if they're in smaller or larger shapes. They need to be the same size. Well, today we're going to compare fractions that are in the same size shapes to see if they're equivalent. Let's take a look at our I can statement today. It says, I can understand two fractions as equivalent, or the same, if they are the same size or the same point on the number line. Let's take a look at the following shapes and see what we find. Here I see two circles and they've been partitioned. This one has been partitioned into eighths because it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 parts. And this one has been partitioned into fourths. Now we have to look at these two fractions, 6/8 and 3/4. Are they equivalent or not? I can do this by shading in parts of the whole. So for 6/8, we're going to color in or shade 6 parts. So we've got, whoa, that didn't work. Let's try that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I shaded in 6 of the 8 parts. Let's take a look at this circle right here, and I'm going to move this up a little bit so I don't get confused that they are not in line. Sometimes that helps me a little bit. And now for 3/4, I'm going to shade in 3 of the 4. So I'm going to start here. That's 1 part, 2 parts, and 3 parts. Now if we look at this, we can see that even though I shaded in 3 parts, it is exactly the same amount as the 6/8. I know this because if I take this other color and I look at just this area here, it is the same size. All right, let's try another one. Here we have two circles and we're going to compare the fractions of 5/8 and 3/4. Let's see. I'm going to color in 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I know I colored in 5 parts because my numerator is 5, and that tells me how many of the whole we're talking about or are going to be shaded. And here again, we're going to work with 3/4, so we're going to color in 3 sections. 1, 2, 3. Now if we compare these two circles, we see that they are not equivalent. They are not the same. To be the same, I would have had to color in this one too. Do you see that? So which fraction is bigger, you ask? 3/4 is bigger. It shades in more of the area. So I can actually use this sign right here to say 5/8 is less than 3/4. Okay? And if we turn back to the previous page, do you know what symbol we would use here to say that these are the same? The equal sign. 6/8 is equal to 3/4. So I know if 6/8 is equal to 3/4, 5/8 can't be equal to 3/4. Okay, let's try another one. We're again using circles that have been partitioned into eighths and fourths. This time we're going to compare if 4/8 and 2/4 are equal or equivalent. So let's try it. We're going to shade in 4 of the 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. And here we're going to shade in 2/4. And I'm going to try and shade in the same area because it's easier to compare that way. 1, 2. Now if we look, we both see that the top section or the top half actually is the same. So 4/8 and 2/4 are equivalent or equal. They're the same. I want to do something a little bit different now to see if you can notice a difference. Let's pretend this is a test, and I have to show your teacher exactly what you know. Well, if I was going to shade in 4/8, would it be very effective to shade in this one, and then this one, and then this one, and number 4 right there, and then for 2/4 shade in this one and this one. that's really hard for me to determine if they are equivalent. So it's always best to try and go one next to another, and then try and shade in the same part on the other shape, okay? All right, we're going to try this one. We're going to shade in 3/6 and 1/3 to compare if it's bigger or equal or smaller. All right, so let's start with 3/6. So I'm going to start here, 1, 2, and 3, because my numerator is 3. And looking at 1/3, my numerator is 1, so I'm just going to shade one part. And if you see, it is different. I'm going to try something. I'm going to erase this one. I was struggling to see if they were equivalent. And move it up here. You know what? This actually looks like 1/2 of the circle. Where this isn't a half, is it? No. So you know which one's bigger? My 3/6 is larger or greater. So I'm going to use my greater than symbol to show that 3/6 is greater than 1/3. Did you notice how I changed where I shaded because it helped me visualize better? Was it the same or wasn't it? And I found that by changing them, that it made more sense to me, that I could definitely see that that one was bigger and it wasn't the same. All right, now we're going to change it up. Instead of looking at circles, we're going to compare rectangles. Rectangles are my favorite thing to compare. Circles can be really hard to partition, especially when I have to partition it into thirds or sixths, but rectangles are always pretty simple to me. So let's take a look at these two fractions. We have 4/8 and we have 1/2. I'm going to start by shading my 1/2, and I'm going to just shade the top. By starting with this one first, I know where I can shade my 4/8, because if I would have shaded these four, it would be much more difficult to compare. But now I know I'm going to start shading in the top area first. So I'm going to shade 4 parts of the 8ths. 1, 2, 3, 4. And if we look at that, we both know that the top half is shaded, which means that 1/2 is equivalent to 4/8. Okay, they both show 1/2 of an area. Okay, and let's try one more here. We have another shape, and again, I'm going to start by shading my 1/2 first, and I'm going to shade the bottom this time. And then when I start shading my 5/8, I'm going to start on the bottom. So let's do 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'm going to have to go up top for 5. So I know that 5/8 is greater than 1/2 because it shades a larger area. So they are not equivalent. So we can write this. They are not equivalent. But even more so, 5/8 is greater than 1/2. All right, if you have any questions, don't forget to see your teacher.